So let's talk about financial habits that so many people consider normal, but they're actually sabotaging their financial goals, leaving them stressed and overwhelmed when it comes to achieving their goals and building long term wealth. These habits are so common that they seem harmless, but the truth is that they are derailing you from being able to achieve your goals. So today I'm calling them out. No shame, no judgment, just real talk. And then I'm giving you alternatives of what you can be doing instead so you can actually achieve those financial goals that you have set for yourself. Hi everyone, my name is Bola Shokumbi. I'm the founder and CEO of Clever Girl Finance. I'm also the author of the Clever Girl Finance book series, the book Choosing to Prosper, and my Wealth Plan Workbook. Welcome to Clever Girl Finance TV. So let's get into those normal habits that are so far from normal. Number one, saving after spending. So a lot of people say they're going to save money, but they only attempt to save after they have spent money and they're at the end of the month. But the truth is that there usually is nothing left to save, or what they have to save is very little because the money they would have saved has somehow found its way out of their bank account. The fix to this is to pay yourself first. Before you pay any bills, before you spend money on any non essentials, make a plan, be intentional about paying yourself first. Contribute to your retirement savings, contribute to your emergency fund, and put money aside for yourself and your future self that is a non negotiable bill that you pay to yourself before you do any spending. Even if it's just $10 or $20 you can put aside for yourself, that amount will add up and you are building that habit of consistently paying yourself over time. And as your income increases, as you have more money, you can put more aside for yourself and for your current self and your future self. The second normal habit that people are guilty of is not making more than the minimum payments on your debt even when you know you can afford to do so. So when it comes to paying off debt, the biggest, hurdle that keeps people in debt is compounding interest. And when you are making minimum payments, your debt is compounding at the maximum amount based on your interest rate. And so every amount that you pay beyond your minimum payment helps you reduce your principal balance so that the next time your debt compounds at whatever interest rate you have, it's compounding on a lower principal balance. And so if you can afford to make more than the minimum payments on your debt and you're not doing it, you're actually losing hundreds or even thousands of dollars over time in interest payments. And so if you find yourself in this space where you have gotten comfortable making minimum payments, but you know you can do more, here's what I would recommend. Try the snowball or avalanche method. These are both debt repayment methods that are very effective, where you focus on either paying off your smallest balance or your debt that has the highest interest rate. But the key here is that for the top priority debt that you have, your number one most important debt, most expensive debt, most painful debt, or your smallest balance, you're paying as much more than the minimum than that you can. If you are trying to get used to paying more than the minimum, a simple way to do it is to round up your payments and then add a bit extra. So round up your payments to the nearest dollar and add another $20, add another $50, add another $100 to help you pay more than the minimum and get used to making that more than a minimum payment. And then if you don't necessarily have the income to make that extra payment beyond your minimum payment, think about applying things like refunds. Like if you bought something but you returned it because you don't need it, you don't want it, you don't like it, put that refund money as an extra payment on your debt. Or you can apply things like, raises that you get, tax refunds that you get, and things like that. Get creative to find ways to make extra payments on your debt. You could even start a side hustle, a low cost side hustle, or declutter things in your home, your kitchen, your closet, your garage that can help you bring in extra money to put towards making more than a minimum payment on your debt. Normal behavior number 3 is buying things because they are on sale. Raise your hand if you've ever said, but it was 40% off. And raise your hand if you found yourself mindlessly scrolling because you were bored on your smartphone late at night and you stumble across a great sale that is just too good to pass up. Listen, we've all been guilty of shopping for things just because we found them on sale. But the thing about sales is that they don't save you any money if you were not planning to buy that thing in the first place. And if you were never going to buy that thing full price, if you didn't like it enough to buy it full price and you're buying it on sale, you may not even be saving any money either. Many times when we are spending like this out of boredom, mindless scrolling, it's really emotional spending in disguise. And so ask yourself, when you find yourself in this sales spending mode, did I need this before I saw it? And will I still want this if I wait 24 hours, 48 hours, or even 1 week? Number 4, living paycheck to paycheck, but you're upgrading your lifestyle. This one hits hard because this is something that a lot of people do. You are not saving, you're not paying more than minimum on your debts, you're not investing anything. Your employer offers you a match in your 401k, you do not take it. You are essentially spending everything you have each time you get paid because you're trying to maintain a certain lifestyle that in reality you really cannot afford or should not be spending that much money on because you have more important financial goals that you should be pursuing. When our income increases, lifestyle upgrades tend to follow. A bigger house, a better neighborhood, a nicer car, nicer clothes, nicer bag, nicer shoes. Everything needs to be nicer, or we deserve to have nicer things, and then our money just finds ways to slip through our fingers. There is nothing wrong with upgrading your lifestyle, but you want to do it intentionally and not at the expense of you not having any money at all in the bank. The better move is, as your income increases, be intentional about carving out a percentage that goes towards your savings and your investments and paying off debt. You can also choose to keep your lifestyle steady as your income increases while you pursue certain financial goals like getting out of debt or building up emergency savings or getting your investment account to the point where you feel financial confidence. And then that extra money you get, like I said, you funnel it into debt, savings, or investing. Lifestyle inflation is normal. There's nothing wrong with it. But again, like I mentioned earlier, you want to do it with an intention because lifestyle inflation is also what keeps a lot of people broke. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, tell your best girlfriends about Clever Girl Finance, and then stop by our website. We have over 30 plus completely free courses, over 40 plus completely free worksheets. And if you're looking for a tool or a resource to guide you to creating a personalized plan to saving, investing, paying off debt, and achieving your long-term financial goals, then check out the Clever Girl Finance workbook called My Wealth Plan. I would also love for you to check out the Clever Girls Know podcast. You can find this podcast wherever you listen to your podcast episodes. I interview some incredible guests every single week on all kinds of topics, from saving to investing to paying off debt to entrepreneurship, motherhood, and more. And don't forget to check us out on social media. You can find us everywhere at Clever Girl Finance. Okay, let's get back to this video. Number 5, treating credit cards like extra income. Credit cards are tools. They are not extra incomes and they should not be your emergency fund. So if you find yourself overspending once you get paid, spending everything you have, not budgeting, and then having to rely on credit cards to pay bills that you could otherwise have been able to afford if only you had made a budget, then you're setting yourself up for long-term debt, and this is something that you want to avoid. So if you are leveraging credit cards, which again, there is nothing wrong with that. I have a credit card. They are tools and they can, be very beneficial, but you want to make sure that you're using it responsibly. So if you are using a credit card, make sure that you are budgeting what you spend on your credit card based on your income, and you have a plan to pay your credit card when that bill comes due. You also want to make sure that you're budgeting your money in general so that you are able to allocate the necessary funds to your core essentials and even your non-essentials that you enjoy spending money on without having to rely on credit cards to cover them. This way, your money is not just slipping through your fingers on things you didn't plan. Instead, it's going specifically to areas you have allocated the cash for, so you don't have to use your credit card if it's not necessary at all. And then focus on building up an emergency fund so that you reduce your reliance on credit cards, especially if you have been using your credit card as your emergency fund. That can be very, very expensive because of the interest rates, and it's also expanding whatever debt burden you have. So focus on starting to put cash aside, build it into your budget, build a line item in your budget for emergency savings, and start putting money aside specifically for emergencies or when life happens. So like I mentioned, you don't have to rely on your credit card. Number six, never looking at your numbers. So a lot of people avoid checking their bank accounts because they are afraid of what they're going to see, or they don't want to deal with having to look at their accounts and not seeing enough money there. But not checking your bank account doesn't stop the money from not being enough. It doesn't stop the money from not being there. It doesn't stop, like the transactions from happening if you're overspending. It just keeps you in the dark. And so start making a habit to review your budget on a weekly basis to see where your money is going. Because the whole idea of having a budget is that you are telling your money what to do. So in fact, let me rewind that. Set a goal to build a budget and then review your budget on a weekly basis so you can see where your money is going. And then start tracking your spending regularly so you can see exactly what you are spending your money on, and you can catch yourself if you are emotional spending, impulse spending, and really reflect on why that is happening and make adjustments as necessary. And then be aware of your debt, how much you owe, what your interest rates are, your savings, and your investments, and create a plan to start putting money to these different categories based on your goals so that you are able to start achieving your financial goals. When it comes to improving your finances, awareness is the first step in taking control. And then finally, a normal thing that people do or people think is normal is thinking you need a lot of money to invest. This is one of the biggest myths and mistakes out there, that you need to have a ton of money before you can start to build wealth and grow your money. That is inaccurate. You can invest with small amounts of money. There are so many platforms that allow you to invest with $1, with $5, and over time those amounts add up. And when you're investing small amounts, the biggest lesson here, the biggest factor here is that you're building consistency over time so that when the bigger money comes in, you already know that you have a cadence and a timeline on which you invest. That consistency is what allows you to build wealth over the long term. So don't worry too much about the amounts to begin with. Focus on the consistency. And as your income changes, as your income increases, then you already have a schedule and a path to invest consistently over time and grow your money. Following that mindset of, I need more money to start investing, causes you to lose the benefits of compounding and appreciation and dividends over years, which can be thousands and tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars lost just because you were waiting for the right amount. So start where you are. Open up a Roth IRA, traditional IRA, open up a brokerage account, and start putting money aside for your future self. Use beginner-friendly platforms with low minimums. There are so many brokerages and apps out there that allow you to invest with small amounts of money. Just do a quick search on your smartphone, do a quick Google research, do some quick Google research, read the reviews, and you will find them. And then set up automatic contributions to your investment accounts. Even $10 a week or $10 a month, $20, $50, $100. Just let that be the baseline of you setting your consistency habit up. And as you earn more, you can increase that amount. And so some platforms where you can open up your brokerage account include Fidelity, Charles Schwab, T. Rowe Price, and there are apps like M1 Finance, SoFi, Public Investments, etc., Betterment, Wealthfront, where you can start to invest with small amounts of money as well. So there you have it. Those are 7 normal money habits that are doing more harm than good. But people just assume that, it's normal, so they just go with the flow, but it really is sabotaging your financial goals and derailing your finances. If any of these hit home for you, don't beat yourself up. Like I mentioned at the beginning, this is a no shame, no judgment conversation. This is just real talk. And now that you know what these habits are, you can make the effort and set the intention to start adjusting them and doing better. I've been guilty of many of these as well myself. And so it's all about, when we learn the lesson, how do we start to implement it so we can do things differently? So let me know in the comments, which of these normal habits have you been guilty of, and which of these are you getting rid of or have gotten rid of already? Share in the comments. I would love to know. Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you next time.